Happy Fridays! Welcome to episode number 68 of Don't Just Get Up, Wake Up with your boy ZoDog. And I think it's so right, so perfectly fitting right now to actually show you a video on YouTube. Alright? The show is called Extraordinary Beliefs, and this gentleman is interviewing Bob Lazar. Some people may have heard of Bob Lazar, okay? He is famous for working on Area 51. Okay? So, if anyone is familiar with Area 51, the base, you know what I mean, supposedly has a lot of reverse engineering and everything going on with UFOs, spacecrafts, and so forth in the government for years. So basically, this video is going to be, I want to show 5 minutes because it's an hour long. You guys can actually do your own research and look up Extraordinary Beliefs with the interview by Bob. With the interview of Bob Lazar. Okay, basically he's at a UFO fest. But let me shut up and let's get it cracking, so you guys can get some more knowledge of the UFOs that's supposedly happening all around us. Okay, this is just a video. Not to say this is facts, but just watch it for your own opinions. Camera crew's off again today, so pardon the shakiness. I may show you guys 10 minutes of it.
Bill. Yes.
Instead of 5.
Yes. I haven't outlived my welcome here. Thank you again for having me. Guys, what an incredible, really exciting weekend just as a fan, and I'm very excited. Bob Lazar is here. We did it, man. We flipped the script. Thanks to Bob for deciding to tell you his story again. We will have a live Q&A. There are specific things we'll go over that you haven't heard before. We're going to get very specific today, but write really thoughtful questions. You know, not manifestos. Questions, right? Yes, questions. And then we'll do our best to answer them. Enjoy the film. We'll be right up here on stage after, and thank you guys.
This story is extraordinary, especially if it's true. And it all started in the desert, just north of Las Vegas.
A local scientist who worked at Groom Lake
said to be where top-secret weapons systems have been tested over the years.
He has asked that his identity be shielded.
Exactly what's going on up there?
What's going on up there could be the most important event in history. Physical contact and proof from another system, another planet, another intelligence.
What would happen to you if the government learned that you were giving us this information?
Yep.
He just wanted to stay alive. Maybe this has been kept from us for a good reason.
Sir, how do we know you are who you say you are?
We'll talk to him.
My name's Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
I'm known for working at a classified base and reverse engineered alien spacecraft.
Anybody who knows who Bob Lazar is, he's the man. That's why I got excited. True Fox Mulder.
Can we ever be made whole if we're not believed?
We can't verify what was going on in his background.
I have no motivation to lie.
The science and the technology can change us.
We've always looked to the skies for answers, instead of looking into ourselves.
Don't worry about the subtitles. Sometimes the subtitles do not match the actual words for some strange reason on YouTube.
Thank you, Bob, for letting me make the movie. This story spans, as you know, 30 years. So thanks for watching the movie. Let's jump directly into it. It's been said by George many times that Bob Lazar is a reluctant UFO messiah. I want to hear, when you were going to be put on the news and you were nervous about your well-being, how George Knapp had the tape and you said, okay, let's do it. And the second he's putting in that tape, there was a wrestling match. You did not want your name and face out there. So each of you, I want to hear your side on stage before we start.
The agreement was that we could film all of this back in the 80s. And that at any time, if I change my mind, George guaranteed me, we'll just pull it, that's it, there's no problem. So we did film all of it, and things started to get tense, and I began to get worried as time went on, and it finally came to the day where it was going to be aired on the 5 o'clock news, if I recall. And kind of near the last minute, but not the last minute, I decided, you know what, let's not do it. I'm not going to go public with this. And George just said, no, we're doing it. And so I tried to grab the tape from George, and I think that's about all I remember. I don't know where it went after that.
Well, I wouldn't call it a wrestling match. It was more of a tussle, and I won. But just context to that is that 30 years ago this week, this Wednesday, marked 30 years since the Dennis interview, the anonymous interview, and it's the synchronicity of it with the anniversary for this festival and the 30th anniversary of that event that changed our lives and the life of Area 51 itself is amazing. It's almost like it's scripted. But we did that interview with Bob as Dennis. I had not met him. It was a last-minute thing. It was somebody had canceled. I'd been hearing about Bob from John Lear for a long time. Somebody had canceled for our 5 o'clock news, and we called Lear, hey, can your flying saucer guy, that Area 51 guy, can he do an interview? I had no idea what was going on in Bob's life at the time, that he ran into some trouble with his employers and was afraid for his life, and was surprised when they said yes. We put the 5 o'clock interview on. This story comes spilling out. All of our jaws were dropping. The general manager comes running in. Is that real? The news director calls me in. Is that for real? The phone's ringing off the hook. All hell's breaking loose. We don't know if it was real, but we decided to find out. And so the next weekend, we go to Lear's house to meet Lazar. My news director and I, Bob, we're going to put him through his paces. We're going to ask him a bunch of questions about his background, figure out if we believe his story. And we left that meeting going, holy crap, this sounds like it's true. And if it is, it's the biggest story we're ever going to cover. It was also the riskiest story we were ever going to cover because our reputations were on the line individually as journalists. We could be ridiculed. It could damage the reputation of the station. So we're going to take our time and check this out. I had to talk Bob. It took me another month to talk Bob into getting a safety interview, going on camera, not to be aired, just to have it in case something happened to him, because there was a lot of strange stuff going on at the time.
Yeah, there was.
Threats that were being made to him. We were all being followed around. Our phones were tapped. It was a very tense time, and it's hard to convey to people 30 years later how real it was, but it was real. We lived through it. What was going on?
So if UFOs are fake, then how come all that pressure was on them, huh? Phones tapped?
And I promised I wouldn't air it. That was just in case Bob got bumped off or something. And also, as a measure of protection.
Wake up,
to let
people.
know
They're out
we've
there,
already got the
in my
interview.
opinion.
You don't need to kill them anymore. We're still
they're out
making
there.
the story. And then we did another interview in November for this series. And I remember Bob Stodel and I walking out of the meeting with Bob and saying, gosh, we could do a multi-part series. This could be like 5 parts or something. We ended up doing 2 weeks. Each of the stories were, a typical news story, even in those days, was a minute and a half, 2 minutes. These stories were 12, 13, 14 minutes long. And it was the biggest, highest rated thing that's ever been on television in Las Vegas. So, more context. We ended up doing a 2-week series. Part 6 is where we're going to reveal the identity of Bob. So we're 5 parts into it, setting it up. History of Area 51 and ufology and all that stuff. We've already teased it over the weekend. Monday's the day.
It's coming close to the 10-minute mark, so I hope you guys are intrigued, been intrigued.
And the whole world was trying to figure out who he was.
Look up this
And
video
that was the day
and
that
finish it.
Bob's
It's
in the
about an hour.
station And trying to grab the tape, I've changed my mind. No, sorry. We're too late into it. I mean, literally, we were editing right up to the last minute, and I am taking the tape down to the edit bay, and I'm going to run out to this
10-minute mark's
studio.
coming.
And we
Love you
started
guys.
tussling for the tape and wrestled a little bit, and no, it's too late. We're too late into it, and ran down the hallway, stuck the tape in the machine, and then I went out on set, and history was made.
So it's Bob Lazar, baby. It is getting close to the end of episode 68. This is the UFO Fest. They are interviewing Bob Lazar. This is on YouTube. Look him up. It's extraordinary beliefs. Look up that station
Yeah, it really does.
if you're interested.
I mean, I had a chance to kind of go through it, and Jeremy
Let you know a lot more about UFOs,
assured
man.
me,
I'm telling you.
unlike George, that it
Very intriguing
at any
stuff.
point, if there's something that
Love you guys, man. Stay tuned for episode number 69 is
that it had to be
Happy Fridays.
accurate,
All right.
It
Peace.
didn't matter if I liked something or